We are pleased to bring in our guest host this morning, RLJ Companies founder and chairman, BET founder, Bob Johnson, media visionary, private equity god. You're iconic. I don't know what you want to talk about today, but there's the economic backdrop. I want to get your viewpoint because you have so many businesses and how things are going. But I want to get your comments on the political environment as well and how it relates to the economic environment. How's business?
Business is very good. I believe that if you take into account the Trump tax cut, you take into account the drop in unemployment, and particularly unemployment for African Americans, the lowest it's ever been in history. And you take into account the fact that interest rates are fairly stable. No, they will probably drift up, but so far. And I think the business community is committed to reinvest capital that they get from some of the tax advantages, and that as a result of that, I think the economy is going to grow. It's not going to do 5, as I think Larry Kudlow suggested it could do 5, and Larry and I went to Princeton, the Woodrow Wilson School together. I was smarter than he was at the time. But I'm glad he's a
TV guy.
I'm glad he's at the NEC. I'm gonna call him and tell him, welcome to DC. But when you put all of that together, I believe that the economy is on a strong growth path, and in particular in our businesses, car businesses is growing. We're about the 21st largest car dealership group in the country. People are still buying cars as interest rates are favorable. Hotels tend to be coming back. Business travelers are going back on airplanes and traveling and staying in hotels. That works for us. And there's still capital out there to raise in the private equity field. And so when you put all of that together, and particularly from my vantage point of the focus on urban markets and African American community, when you got about African Americans are down around 4 or 5, something like that, that's a pretty good testament to the fact that there are a lot of jobs out there looking for people who are traditionally underemployed. And that only comes when the economy is growing.
So it's been pointed out that the old mantra, it's the economy's stupid. Usually things are going well. Usually people are happy and feeling good, and the president's approval rating is up in the mid-50s or 60s because the economy's well. There's a disconnect right now. Yeah. And not only is it a disconnect, but there's 40 or 50% of the people in this country, when I read Twitter and stuff, they're not sure they're going to survive the year. That they look around and for some reason feel so threatened and feel so bad and feel so, it's like they don't know if democracy and society are even going to make it through 2018. Yeah. And that's all about personality with Trump, I think. Are they, when do they just look around and say, wow, African American unemployment is the lowest it's ever been. The jobs, it's 4%. GDP might be. When do you smell the coffee?
You're a little bit in that world of no good deed goes unpunished, and that's what's happening politically. Everything is so toxic that even if you do something good, the opposition party, the opposition interests, we're so divisive that no matter what the president would do or no matter what the Democrats would do, it's negative. And a lot of it is fueled by just this constant need.
Tribalism,
to go back and be a part of a small community, forget the idea we're all part of one country, we're all in this together. That's gone out the door. And so I've never seen the country more in a zero-sum game.
Do you watch cable TV, Bob? There are people that if Mueller doesn't succeed in finding collusion and getting this guy out of office, that the country's going to implode if that doesn't happen.
The feeling now is there's this deep state. I keep hearing this term, deep state. Basically what people are saying, this country is controlled by the dark forces somewhere beneath the government, somewhere in elite think tanks, somewhere among the intelligentsia. And everybody is prepared to throw all that means to be an American out the window on behalf of their particular group, or as you said, tribe.
Probably.
And if you stay like that, then I think you will have fear, even though you got good numbers economically and people are.
You are on record saying that Trump offered you a cabinet position. It wasn't that long ago either, was it?
No, when I met him at Bedminster, he
How long
asked me
ago?
for Well, when he's president-elect, so what is that, about a year and a half?
About a year. And
ago?
He was talking about a certain cabinet position, and you didn't say no because it was Trump. You said no because you're not going into government.
I said no because I didn't want to work for the government.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know any. Well, I mean, guys, somebody's got to deliver the mail, and somebody's got to be at the post office to work for the government. But
you would otherwise work with Trump?
Huh?
You would otherwise do business with Trump?
Would I do business with him?
Would you do business with Trump?
Yeah, I would do business with him big if it's focused on improving the economic climate and opportunity for African Americans. And that means putting more money into the pockets of African Americans. Yeah. And I proposed it when I met with them at Bedminster.
Right.
I proposed several agenda items that would go to the question of how do you improve the economic life of African Americans. And one of them that I really focused on, which I strongly believe in, there's a huge retirement crisis in this country. Yeah. And particularly for low-income wage workers. And one of the causes of that retirement crisis is the leakage in 401k accounts. People who have small dollar 401k accounts tend to cash out when they change jobs.
Right.
And when they cash out, of course, you know, they pay taxes on the cash out.
Big hit.
And they lose the appreciation on the 401k account. We have a proposal, and it's something that the Trump administration has been supporting from the time I met with them at Bedminster.
Yep.
To have the Labor Department approve a regulation.
Andrew is you need to he is incredulous that you would work or normalize this president.
I'm not
what were you going to say?
I'm not working for Trump. I'm working
working with him is just as bad.
What I'm trying to understand is, as a businessman, I understand you. The question I was asking you was, would you do business would he be your business partner with the context that every bank, virtually every U.S. bank in this country decided many years ago that they wanted to have nothing to do with him?
Would I do business with Trump on a deal?
On a deal as a business person where you have to trust the other side and he's going to actually fulfill the other side and that you actually have money tied to each other. I'm asking you straight up, would you do a business transaction with this gentleman?
Depends on the deal.
The President of the United States.
It depends on the deal. If I had control of the deal, yeah, I'd do business with him.
Okay.
Most of the business deals I do, I have control of it. So if I told him I wanted him to build me a hotel,
right,
and I had the controlling interest in the hotel, they're great hotel builders, and you take somebody who can do good hotel, yeah, I'd do business with them. But it's like everything else. I would do
with this viewpoint, you can see how worried people are that this guy is president. Someone's so dishonest.
Look, I'm surprised by some of the things that Bob's saying.
No, I know,
because I think
but we are in dire straits considering his business, the way he.
No, but I think that because it's been set up here in this very binary situation that you can look at the economy on one end, and then you're saying that there's other people in this country who are having these, what you might describe as snowflake feelings, and yet what you're not commenting on, and you haven't commented on, is the fact that there are hot emotions given many of the comments, the rhetoric of the president. He's smiling at him. You want to comment? How did you feel about Charlottesville? I mean, that's the reason why people feel the way they feel.
I understand.
Let me answer that. Well, let me answer that. When I met with the president-elect at the time, and I said, Mr. President, do not say to African Americans, what do you have to lose under a Trump administration? I said, Mr. President, if you want to speak to African Americans in a way that they will understand you and perhaps even support you, talk about what African Americans have to gain from a Trump administration. And in that meeting, he asked me to come up with some proposals that will address economic concerns of African Americans. And since that time, I've continued to do that, and I've had access to anyone in the Trump administration I wanted to meet. When I wanted to meet with Steve Mnuchin, I met with Mnuchin. When I want to meet with the top deputies at the Labor Department, I'm able to meet with them. When I go to Republicans, a good friend of mine, Senator Tim Scott from South Carolina, has taken the lead with me on this proposal to put more than $600 million back in the pockets for African Americans by reducing their likelihood of cash-out retirement.
What's the solution on the pension, on the 401k issue?
The solution is an electronic record-keeping technology that allows you, when you move from job A to job B,
Like an instant rollover?
You can instant roll over, and you are encouraged to the benefits of rolling over your account to your next job.
Do you have to
other than-
opt out of rolling over? Because to me, it's like what so many people do, including what I did when I first started, is you just take whatever's given to you. And if you are opted into the 401k plan, you end up doing that. It's a lot tougher choice if you have to physically make that decision yourself.
Yeah, well, see, the way that companies don't want to deal with small dollar accounts. You've been at a company, you got $2,500 in your 401k.
Right.
They want to get rid. They don't want to manage it.
Right.
So what happens is you call a guy and say, look, when you go to your next job, we'll roll it over, but if you want to take it.
You can just take it and take the big hit.
You know what most people do, particularly minority
They'll take the
Americans?
2,000 versus
They
the-
take the 2,500.
Or
And
the
the end-
2,000 after the fees.
Yeah, after fees and then the taxes.
Right.
And so the end result is there's hundreds of millions, billions of dollars of leakage for the whole country is going out. A simple regulation, no congressional action required, a simple regulation at labor puts that money back in people's pockets.
So-
Now, if President Trump, and in fact, I saw him last week down in Florida. I live down in Florida. I saw him at Trump golf course. Talked to him about it. And today, I'm having conversations with people at the highest level of the Trump administration about another thing, which I think will help, is saving black banks. Black banks are going out of business, unable to serve the communities where they work.
Let's revisit this. But so you're on the record saying you don't think, you've known Trump, you don't think he's a racist, and
No,
you think
I
that he
don't
wants
think
to help. You don't think he's racist.
No, I don't think it's racist.
And wants to help African Americans. Okay, so does that answer the Charlottesville question for you?
Yeah.
So, okay, now we're back to the dishonest business person.
Yeah.
So
He wants to help
a
me
racist,
help-
dishonest business person
If
is
a
what we're
guy,
dealing with.
if a guy tells me, president, corporate head, and I've dealt with a lot of corporate heads, and and they may not have many black friends or whatever, but if I go to them and say, hey, look, I got an idea that will help the black community, and they say, gee, I'd like to be a part of it. The perfect example for me was John Malone.
Right.
John Malone, I went to John Malone with an idea that was strictly aimed at African Americans, had nothing to do with the majority population, black entertainment television. John Malone, in about a 30-minute conversation, put $500,000 into BET. And out of that grew the $4 billion BET company.
Money's not, it's not white or black.
Right.
It's green, right? Money's green.
And it impacted a lot of African American talent.
And you did well, and you built an empire, and you continue to American success story, and
Yeah.
I'm
to
with
me,
you.
if you can make it work with the idea you keep emotions out of it. I'm not a social activist. I'm not a religious leader. I'm an entrepreneur. And as an entrepreneur, I look for opportunities with people who have a belief.
Well, and you're a man that obviously doesn't care if you're going to take a lot of flack, because I know you get a lot of flack, and I don't know if it's worth. I don't know. It'd be easier just to go with the flow.
Yeah, I've never done that.
You never,
I've never done that.
No, I know.
That's why I come on your show.
Yeah, that's why that's why you got $10 billion. Anyway.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.